they need to out physical Arkansas. Like with every game, if you don't have the physicality and you're not pushing the other team, it's over. The game's over. But this LSU offense, I think they can be good. I definitely think they can be good. It's the push up front. It's the pass protection because he's been sacked quite a lot this year. But they need to get more open, and their running backs need to get more involved in the run game. Put some trick plays in there and get LSU. Really, what they need to do is get out to this 14-point lead. It seems like when they're really playing good and they're playing out in front, that's when they can't be stopped. When they're playing from behind, like in the USC game, it's a little more difficult for them to get back in the lead. Ole Miss, same thing. They were down. It was difficult. They figured out how to do it in the end, but it was way more difficult for them to win like that than it is for when they're up. I mean, obviously for teams, but there's some teams that can be down by like 10 and just win it. Like TCU in 2023 or 2022. So yeah, I think LSU just has to play out front. They got to start fast. Arkansas, that's what they got to do. Start out fast. Play more physical. They are physical. Taylen Green needs to figure out some things first. But I think if he can figure that out, I don't see why Arkansas loses this game. So it's a toss-up. It's another toss-up game. There's one more toss-up game. I'm not going to talk about Kansas State, West Virginia. But then we got game of the week. Texas, Georgia, Carson Beck. This is your time to shine. If Georgia fails, I'm just going to talk about this. Georgia fails, there's no SEC championship. Basically none. They're at like 2% or something if they lose. At least in not actual predictions, but just my personal beliefs. They're down to like 2% to win, to even go to the SEC championship, because that's the second loss this year. If Texas loses, it's going to be a 4-team race. LSU, Tennessee. LSU would be number 1 because they're still undefeated. It'd be LSU, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Texas. 5 teams, one loss or 0. 1 team with 0 losses and then 4 with 1. It's going to be crazy seeing that and just being like, hey, why? Why are you doing this to us, guys? But Texas, home field advantage. I think I think Texas has to play the pass game better. They have to run it, obviously. But I think Quinn Ewers is going to have to get out of this rusty stage that he had last week. Because, yes, he did good to end the game, but 199, touchdown and interception, for me, I don't see how that's going to win Texas this game. If they have to do that, then they have to run for 200 yards. Like, I can't see them throwing for under 200 and winning the game without running for 250. So, I think Texas is going to have to very much pass this ball all game, get the passing game all figured out, and then they will have to stop Georgia. They basically have to do the same thing that Alabama did to Georgia, because that's how Alabama beat Georgia, obviously. But I think I don't think Texas can be more physical. That's the problem. I see Georgia being more physical than Texas in this game. I think Texas is going to have to outsmart them. That's how they're going to win this game. And they've done that. They definitely have done that. It's just this year they've only out-physical teams because everybody else they've played is weaker than them. Definitely. So That would be Texas's plan. Georgia, their defense needs to shape up. They've been horrible the last 2 games. Mississippi State, Auburn was okay, so 2 of the last 3. And then Alabama, obviously, you let 46. Like, you can't do that. So, Georgia's definitely going to have to work defensively. Offense, the Carson Beck is playing against, apparently, I didn't know this until I was listening to Josh about this. Texas has the number 1 passing defense in the SEC. They've only played scraps, but Georgia needs to figure out how Carson Beck's going to throw, because they cannot have another Carson Beck 4-interception game. That was atrocious. That was horrible. They can't do that. So they have to figure out how Texas is going to play their defense, and then they got to figure out what concepts they can use to get that ball outside. They can definitely run the ball. It's just the running backs. I'm sorry, Trevor Etienne. He's just not he's not your Nick Chubb, Sony Michel type guy. He's more of a Sony Michel, but you need that bruiser to get through, and I don't think Georgia has that. They need to get more spacious on the outsides. They don't have the running back room that they used to, and I think Texas can do it. But also, Georgia's very good up front. They're very good offensive front. I just think Georgia needs to figure this out. And I don't know. It's a chalk match honestly, I don't even think DKR is going to put that at a 4.5. I think it would be more of a 1.5. I think it's very, very close. I think Texas still can peek it out, but I wouldn't be surprised, again, if Georgia figures it out and wins. And then good old Iowa State, of course, we've got so many teams, 6-0. Iowa State's top 10 team in the country? Where did this come from? Also, Oregon scored, by the way. If anybody wanted to know, Oregon scored. This team played Iowa State and beat them by 1. They played Houston and won by 20. They beat West Virginia by 12 last week. So who have they played? If I look right now, I'm going to move you guys for a second. So the teams they played: Baylor, 2-4. West Virginia, 3-3. Houston, 2-4. They've played nobody. They played North Dakota. And then they also played, who else did they play? Arkansas State. North Dakota, Arkansas State, and Iowa. I don't think Iowa's ranked anymore. So this game is going to be, this game is going to be a very, very, if they got to figure out how to pull away from these games to make me impressed. I haven't seen an Iowa State game yet. I know their quarterback looks good. Becht, he looks pretty good. I saw like half of the Iowa State-West Virginia game, and then I had to go to bed. But I think Iowa State, I want to watch them this week, and I want to see them be physical. I want to see them run the ball well. UCF has very much struggled passing the ball. They haven't found their quarterback. KJ Jefferson's been okay, but they haven't figured it out yet. So I think we need to really see what's going on with this Iowa State team. Can they play defense? Can they play against the pass? Because if USC can throw it all over them, I don't think Iowa State's good. We need to see something from Iowa State that is going to blow me away and be like, yes, Iowa State, they can win the Big 12. Because let's see. What is their remaining schedule? They've played basically nobody to start their schedule. They have UCF, Texas Tech, Kansas, Cincinnati, Utah, and Kansas State. Cincinnati, Utah, Kansas State to end the year. They have to be circling those games, because those games are going to be where they can show that, yes, we are better than everybody else. We and Kansas State are the only two, or in BYU, are the only 3 ranked teams left in this conference. If we can beat Cincinnati's good, they're 4-2. They're not terrible. Utah, who's 4-2. They're just not playing good in conference. If we can beat them, and then Kansas State, who has 1 loss. Like, those 3 games are going to determine Iowa State's season. But I think these first 3 is going to be, we need to pull away, we need to show dominance, and we need to force it into the national spotlight. And then I'll be like, okay, Iowa State can win. They can do it. I think they have a great coach down there. I think they have a great team down there. It's just going to be, can they win? Well, as I stated, we still have we have Oregon on. Oregon's up. They're playing. They're doing their thing. They just got a punt back. Oh no, Florida State. What is going on? Is Florida State losing? This would be crazy. Oh my goodness. Oh my. I have never seen this ever. Top 10 team. Oh gosh, that field goal was horrible. He kicked it way too high and it just spun like this into the offensive lineman. Into his back. Not even grazed his helmet, but it was right into his back. But no, Duke is decimating Florida State right now. It is looking horrible for Florida State. This is chaos. I've never seen a team go from, oh, we're going to be a top 10 team to, oh, we're probably not going to make a bowl game. We barely beat Cal by 4 points in conference. They're going to go from top of the world, hey, we're going to play Georgia, to 3-9 in the ACC. Dang. Florida State has a lot to work on. But, yeah, so big games this weekend. I think Oregon's going to crush them. They've already got the ball back. It's 7-0. See, Oregon just needed that Ohio State game to hype them up and get them ready for the year. So, yep, that's it for this week. I'm going to be talking about all those games that I just talked about in the recap on Monday, should be. If it's not Monday, then Tuesday. So, I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.